If you are dealing with chronically greasy scalp, yellow flakes and hair thinning, it is incredibly tempting to want to nuke the problem, and you write to me in comments saying, Alex, if my hair loss is caused by that oil trap or calcified sebum, why don't just take a large dose of Accutane to dry up sebaceous glands and solve the problem for good? And it does sound perfectly logical, as Accutane shrinks your oil glands and stops the oil floating on your scalp, and your hair should grow back, right? But this is wrong, and today we are going to underneath the lens to expose the dangerous biological reality of the Accutane hair loss trap, and why drying your scalp oil glands with synthetic vitamin E derivatives is the fastest way to permanently crash your hair density. To understand why Accutane backfires, you have to understand what your oily scalp actually is. If your scalp gets greasy after a few hours of the hair wash, you don't just have too much oil. You are dealing with distinct error code called Seborrhoea, Sicca, or dry sebum flow. So what happens here is that your oil glands is producing too much oil because your outer layer of your skin is dehydrated and lacks moisture. Your body is flooding the surface with emergency grease to protect your skin tissue from the environment. Now think about what happens when you introduce a nuclear retinoid like Accutane. Accutane works through the body and then basically tells the oil gland cells in your skin to shrink and die off. And because of it, your sebaceous glands become much smaller and produce far less oil. Accutane physically shrinks the glands and cuts off oil production by up to 90%. So what happens next is that suddenly your scalp is not greasy anymore and you think you've won. But now let's look what happens to the soil under a microscope. Look right here. When you suddenly reduce oil production on a scalp that is already dry and damaged, scalp can become extremely dehydrated and irritated. The skin barrier completely cracks open without such natural acidic lipid mantle, and your scalp surface pH violently spikes into highly alkalized zone, and this immediately creates two devastating side effects. So first what happens that keratin armor hardens and remaining liquid on dead skin cells dry out instantly, shrinking tightly around your hair follicles. And this causes immediate microvascular compression, cutting off the blood flow to the hair ball. Sudden dehydration puts stress on your follicles, causing many active follicles that are growing to stop growing and enter into a resting phase too early. And this is why months into Accutane cycle, guys don't see any hair regrowth. But what they do experience is massive and traumatic shedding event instead. They didn't fix environment, they turned a swamp into desert, and the roots died out anyway. As a technician, I can tell you cannot fix biological feedback loop by permanently destroying organ like your sebaceous glands. You have to change the environment. If your scalp is greasy but your hair are thinning, you don't need to have a nuclear drug. You can transform this problem with a microscope using 3 precise non-destructive steps. So first step is about gently cleaning the skin and scalp environment and getting hydration back into the cells. Second step is about locking into a scalp barrier into a safe, slightly acidic environment in a baseline of 4.5 to 5.5 pH. And that's again naturally tells the oil glands that it is safe to stop the pumping of the oil. And third and last step is to do a mild, no frictional exfoliation of your scalp. You don't have genetic defect that requires a systemic medication to nuke your body's natural chemistry. Have an uncalibrated ecosystem. If you are dealing with an oily scalp or struggling with the white flakes or considering dangerous pharmaceutical drugs such as Accutane, I have opened up a few priority scalp audit sessions for this weekend. And on this call, we look directly at your symptom profile and audit your environmental input and design your exact 8-week scalp reset protocol. Or if you prefer to work on your own time, then get hold of the RRF Workbook and follow the steps that are suggested there. And you will be able to find the workbook as well below in the description. Thanks for watching this video, guys. See you next time.